with more weather events and suffered significant losses. Our crop insurance agent suggested that we go individual units and lower the coverage to keep price per acre relatively close. It's been great for our operation.
Customize your crop insurance coverage at farmcreditil.com/crop insurance.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as by Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. State of Illinois legislators have been busy during the fall veto session, making changes to renewable energy statutes that will affect local counties. At Monday night's DeWitt County Land Use Committee meeting, Committee Chair Buck Carter brought up the topic of House Bill 4116, an omnibus energy bill, also known as the Clean and Reliable Grid Affordability Act, covering wind, solar, and battery storage. He feels that the state cleared up some things about the distance regulations when it comes to sites within a mile and a half of an incorporated area.
I've looked at supposedly the act, the new solar bill of rights and sponsored, and there's only a couple things in there that says that I think we need to point out. It says it limits ability to qualified electric energy facilities with a nameplate capacity in excess of 50 MW in the unincorporated areas of a county outside the zoning jurisdiction of the municipality. These facilities must be wind, solar, or storage. So that kind of covers, to me, the batteries that goes along with it, but also covers the mile and a half.
Zoning Administrator Elizabeth Weichel pointed out that the county's current application fees will be changing. Not only will the ways that the fees are measured changed from acreage to megawatts, but there is now a total fee cap of $5,000 per megawatt with a total cap of $125,000.
The other one that they talked about, the fees, and I think our fees fit within where they're talking about. They need to be.
The new fees do change. They're now, I think our wind one is based on acreage, and they now have to be based on megawatts, and there is a cap on them, and the cap is lower on one and higher on the other. So I think we do have to make a little bit of change to those.
Probably some verbiage about placing the cap on them. So that's something that the RPC can just take up directly. Unless there's anything else that we need, I guess it doesn't have to go through the 3-step process if it's legislation. We can just go in there, expose, and make those recommendations unless there's anything else that we can handle.
I think when I reviewed it, there's maybe about 4 or 5 revisions that'll have to be made.
While the omnibus bill has passed the Senate and the House, it is still awaiting the governor's signature. Weichel states that once that happens, they will have a 120-day window to get into compliance with the state statutes. Board Chair Joe Whitty said the Zoning Board of Appeals should hold off on any battery storage decisions until Pritzker signs the bill.
But like I said, it has not been signed yet. It has passed both, but it has not been signed by the governor. And so that's what we're waiting for. And then because we have it in place, once he signs it, it creates a 120-day window that we have to correct ours to come into compliance.
So I guess I didn't look at the whole thing. Battery storage, that was in this in this omnibus bill, is that
Yep.
correct? We had the ZBA was working on the revision that started here, went to the RPC, now they got that one. I kind of question what can we do with that, and I'm assuming that what the state came up with is probably very different. And do we have the ZBA or request that maybe they just put theirs on hold indefinitely and then just adopt whatever the state comes out with in theirs? The problem would be if they approve something, we're gonna have to come back and make sure that it's compliant, and vice versa.
I don't think we want them to act on it
Until it's
until we see what's signed and with the state.
I think it
Not on
makes
a major
sense to start with whatever the state came up with.
Yeah.
The committee also discussed at the brief meeting Weikel's ability to assess the quality of electrical work while she is inspecting residential solar arrays, an inspection that does not require a certified electrician. They ultimately decided that inspecting electrical work is not within the responsibilities of the zoning administrator, and that she is only to look at the zoning and permitting qualifications of the site. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Big Brothers Big Sisters reminds of program's purpose. This week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week, and the National Weather Service is making sure as the winter season looms, we're ready for everything. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln says they are hitting social media hard this week for this campaign to raise awareness about being ready when those winter storms inevitably arrive.
Yeah, every day our social media is going to be a different topic, running from, snow and driving with snow, ice and preparations with that, very cold temperatures and making sure you're prepared for those, having a emergency safety bag in your vehicle because you never know when you're going to become stranded, and then just planning for your home too, making sure it's, furnace is ready to go and how to take action if something does break, have phone numbers ready and know who you're going to call, because when things break, it's always when it's the coldest night of the year. So just planning to be safe on the roads and keep yourself safe at home.
Particularly when traveling, Shimon has a rundown of things to keep at the ready in your vehicle throughout the winter.
Yeah, typically, I have a small shovel, you never know. And I also throw, I replace it when it gets frozen, but have some water in there, some protein bars. I generally try to have a blanket, something warming to keep me, keep the body heat that you have. Just so you can have a way to persist in your vehicle if you end up becoming stranded. Some other things you can throw in there: gloves, mittens, something to flares at times people have used, but something flashing that is battery operated, maybe, that you can make sure your car's visible.
Among other winter weather preparedness tips, use space heaters cautiously, keep them 3 feet from flammable materials, plug directly into the wall, and never use a gas stove or oven to heat your home. Go slowly when shoveling snow to prevent heart attacks or injury. Finally, ensure working carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. Never run gasoline-powered devices like generators indoors or near windows. Visit weather.gov/Lincoln for more information. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Closeout time is here for a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have a good selection of 25 Silverados remaining in regular and crew cab models with gas or diesel engines. Some with utility beds and dual roof wheels. Also see our remaining Colorados, Trailblazers, even our full-size Suburban and Tahoes, all priced to move out. See our 25 inventory today at BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 18 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The Central Illinois chapter of Big Brothers Big Sisters is rebuilding its program under new leadership. Heather Peevler, program manager for the Central Illinois chapter of Big Brothers Big Sisters, explains that they are a one-to-one program that provides mentorship to youth and helps them reach their potential. She says one of their more popular programs in the Clinton area pairs up high schoolers with elementary students.
We are a one-to-one mentoring program. We serve children between the ages of 5 to 18. That 18 is basically when they would graduate from the program, or if they graduate high school, whichever comes first.
Okay.
We have multiple different programs. If you are from the Clinton area, one of our most popular is our high school mentoring program, and that is where we pair high school students with elementary students. We also have a school-based program that's more broad, so that doesn't require any age cap for the mentors. We have our community-based program, which is our most popular one-to-one mentoring program, which is when our bigs and littles meet in the community. They build a friendship and then build goals together that they can help the little accomplish.
Sure.
Our main vision is that all youth achieve their potential. And I think that's very important. We do serve a lot of areas in Central Illinois. We serve Macon County, McLean County, Morgan County, Sangamon County, and DeWitt County, and Champaign County. Those are our largest bubbles right now that we serve.
Peevler indicates that they are always looking for more people to be involved with the program, whether you are a student or would like to be a mentor. While most kids in BBBS are signed up by a parent reaching out directly, they also see students who are referred by their school.
We are always looking for more kids to enroll and volunteers to enroll. Sometimes it can be like a catch-22. We have the kids, but we don't have the mentors. And sometimes we have the mentors and we don't have the kids. So we really want to elevate both of those sides. The easiest way to get involved is to go to our website and inquire through there. Because we have multiple offices, that means sometimes you might get a call from any given case manager to see if you're eligible. Our website is bbbscil.org, and that is where you can also find other information about our programs. And then the other way is sometimes we have partnerships with specific schools and they can send us a referral. I think that's a common misconception about mentoring is you have to fit into some type of mold to be able to have a special adult in your life that helps you achieve your potential, but really everyone deserves a mentor.
Volunteers who are interested must go through an intake process, orientation, and a background check. Peevler states that while there are many steps to the process, it is essential to ensure that the applicant is a good fit and is safe to work with children.
Of course, we have an application that we ask our volunteers to fill out and an orientation for them to attend just to learn about the safety guidelines and then the enrollment steps to become a big. Then once they complete that, then we would schedule an interview with them, which they have the option to do virtually or in person, depending on the case manager. And once we do the interview with them, we have background checks and references. That is to ensure that they are safe to be into the program. And then based on all of that knowledge, we can take that information to decide who they would be a good match with and who, if they are a good fit for the program, which is my favorite part. Yeah, we want to make sure that our volunteers have good expectations coming into the program, or better, no expectations, because really things can feel different once you're actually in the match. You know, it takes time to get to know your little, it takes time to build that connection. And we want people to come into this program for the right reasons. It's not necessarily about the volunteer, even though it's mutually beneficial, definitely mutually beneficial. But we want to make sure that the primary focus is safety and developing that child's goals.
You can learn more about and get involved with the Big Brothers Big Sisters program in Central Illinois by visiting their website at bbbscil.org. It's been a while, but some USDA numbers will finally be released later this week. There was no October data because of the government shutdown, so Comstock Investments' Joe Camp was asked about the added significance of this Friday's World Agricultural Supply and Demand Estimates, or WASDE, report.
Usually the November report is important because it gives us our last updates to the corn and soybean yield estimates for the year. They take a break on the crop production survey in December. They come back sometimes with big surprises like this last season in January. But November, very important for the yield revisions. That's after a full harvest and so much sampling, the surveying from farmers after a couple of months. But as mentioned, we did not then have that October report. So what are we still catching up on? For one, the September 30th grain stocks report. That was a big day. We found extra corn bushels out there. They have to be fit into the balance sheet. So we'll look at that. Probably second, what's the overall impact to the ending stocks projection going forward based off of after what we see on the first glance? How do those yields change? The call going in will be for corn and soybean yields to drop slightly, as always on this report. To what degree, we'll see.
The November WASDE will be released at 11 a.m. on Friday. They've taken off the interim tag. Kevin Carey is now officially the University of Illinois Extension's Assistant Dean and Program Leader for 4-H.
You know, I always tell people that when you start a job, and uniquely I started mine in an acting capacity, you've got to spend a year learning the culture and building relationships. And I'm well over a year in the acting in the interim and now fully here. And where do we go from here? I will tell you that there's a couple things that are critically important. Our youth are facing challenges today that we necessarily haven't seen in the past. And I think 4-H is uniquely positioned. And so working across some of those challenges, whether it's, you know, how are youth addressing their school experience and the struggles they might have, their mental health and their concerns with their mental health. I think about it in the parallel from my agricultural background to like how we're addressing mental health of our farmers. I think about how many youth are experiencing that in generalities, and how can 4-H be that belonging space to make them feel like they're part of something. We've got to do some continued work in that space around health of our youth.
Carey had been serving in the interim capacity since March of 2024. A Menard County youth is the Illinois Farm Bureau Actively Engaged Student of the Month for November. Samantha O'Neill is a sophomore at Athens High School.
Well, I like to keep myself busy, and there's a bunch of different opportunities that my school and community offers that I don't want to just pick just one or two.
O'Neill is an FFA'er, 4-H member, multi-sport athlete, plays in the band, competes in Scholastic Bowl, and is also a Girl Scout. To nominate a student for the monthly award, visit farmweeknow.com/actively engaged. Now for your local obituaries. Robert Keith Coons, 76, of Clinton, Illinois, passed away at 8:13 a.m. November 9th at his family residence in Clinton. Graveside services will be 10 a.m. Tuesday, November 18th at Camp Butler National Cemetery in Springfield, with Scott Marsh officiating and full military honors. A celebration of Keith's life will be 12 noon to 2 p.m. Tuesday, November 18th at the Clinton Country Club. The family has entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with arrangements. Memorials may be directed to Texas Christian Church or Little Galilee Christian Camp. Gene C. Taylor, 96, of Clinton, passed away at 9:10 a.m. November 8th at the Ark of Normal in Normal. Services will be 11 a.m. Monday, November 17th at the Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton, with Pastor Jonathan Roberson officiating. Burial will follow at Oak Park Cemetery in Clinton. Visitation will be 10 to 11 a.m. Monday at the funeral home. Memorials may be directed to the Alzheimer's Association. Paul E. Nothnagel, 91, of Clinton, passed away at 2:32 p.m. November 5th at Decatur Memorial Hospital. Massive Christian burial will be 10:30 a.m. November 13th at Our Lady of the Prairie Parish, St. John the Baptist Catholic Church, with Thomas Sistolik celebrant. Burial will follow at Mausoleum Park Cemetery in Clinton with military honors. Visitation will be 5 to 7 p.m. Wednesday, November 12th at Calvert Funeral Home with prayer service at 4:30 p.m. Memorials may be directed to the St. John the Baptist Catholic Church. Galen D. Lichtenwalter, 95, of Clinton, Illinois, passed away at 10:58 a.m. Friday, October 31st at Goldwater Care of Clinton. Graveside services will be at a later date at Oak Park Cemetery in Clinton, with Pastor Darrell Howard officiating. Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton is in charge of arrangements. Memorials may be directed to the Clinton United Methodist Church. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Best of all, it's all free all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. America's longest-running government shutdown could be over by this evening. The House is set to vote today on a bill to end the shutdown. If approved, the measure then goes to President Trump for his signature. Even as the shutdown seems to be nearing an end, it continues to take a toll on aviation, passengers, and air traffic controllers alike, with thousands of flight delays and cancellations. The Justice Department is launching an investigation into what Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, calls mob violence at UC Berkeley. The campus unrest erupted earlier this week outside a Turning Point USA event. Record low temperatures have shocked the southeast, while snow blankets parts of the Midwest and the Northeast. Winter doesn't officially arrive until next month. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures up 117. More details at SRN News.
From the Hard Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this sports report. Andrej Stojakovic scored 23 points and blocked a potential tying three-pointer in the final seconds as number 14 Illinois defeated number 11 Texas Tech 81-77 on Tuesday night. Kylan Boswell had 22 points, and three players, David Merkovich, Keaton Wagler, and Zanimir Izvich, each scored 11 for the Fighting Illini, who are 3-0, who let a 13-point halftime lead slip away before rallying to win. All-American reigning Big 12 Player of the Year J.T. Toppin had 35 points and 11 rebounds for Texas Tech. It was his 33rd career double-double. Lawan Watts scored 21 for the Red Raiders. Texas Tech had an opportunity to tie the game after Watts sank two free throws with 12.5 seconds left to make it 80-77, following a flagrant foul on Boswell. But then Stojakovic blocked Christian Anderson's three-point try, and Wagler hit a free throw to seal it. The Red Raiders wiped out Illinois' 45-32 halftime lead by making 12 straight shots to start the second half. Texas Tech moved in front 56-55 on a three-point play by Watts with 12 minutes and 49 seconds to go. Illinois bounced back and took the lead for good 66-65 on a layup by Izvich with 8 minutes and 19 seconds remaining. Texas Tech jumped out to a 7-0 lead, but the Illini responded with an 11-point run, ignited by back-to-back threes from Boswell, and took their biggest lead of the half when Stojakovic drove for a layup at the buzzer. Illinois went 16 for 23 at the free throw line, while Texas Tech was 3 of 4. Texas Tech is home versus Milwaukee on Friday nights. The Red Raiders have won 40 straight non-conference home games. Illinois is home versus Colgate on Friday night, the finale of a 4-game homestand to start the season. Sizzling special teams helped the Chicago Blackhawks close a season-high 6-game road trip with 3 consecutive victories. Back on home ice Wednesday for the first time since October 28th, the Blackhawks are eager to show their fans how much the power play and penalty kill have improved as they face the New Jersey Devils. Chicago is 5 for 7 on the power play and 10 for 10 on the penalty kill during the winning streak. Sunday's 5-1 romp at Detroit featured goals on the man advantage from Connor Bedard and Tyler Bertuzzi, who are tied for the club lead with 9 goals. Bedard enters Wednesday with goals in 3 straight games and 18 points over an 8-game point streak. Bertuzzi has 6 goals in the past 3 games, and Artem Leshinov has 4 assists over the same span. Chicago also is hopeful about getting increased production from winger Oliver Moore as he netted his first career goal to cap the scoring in Detroit. Wednesday marks the beginning of a 5-game road trip for the Devils, who are 3-3-1 following an 8-game winning streak. On Monday, New Jersey lost its first game at Prudential Center this season, falling 3-2 in overtime to the New York Islanders. Beset by numerous injuries, especially along the blue line, New Jersey rallied to force OT when defenseman Simon Nemec scored with 4.7 seconds remaining in regulation. Nemec has collected points in 2 of his past 3 games as he gets increased ice time. Forward Zach McEwen returned from a 13-game absence and registered 2 shots and 4 hits in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Jesper Bratt registered his 4th multi-point game of the season and first since October 21st, contributing 2 assists. Luke Hughes leads the New Jersey Devils with 5 multi-point games, while Dawson Mercer also has 4. Frank Nazar, a late scratch for Chicago on Sunday after sustaining an injury 2 days earlier, did not practice on Tuesday. Detroit will be shooting for its 8th consecutive victory when it hosts the Chicago Bulls on Wednesday. The streak was in peril on Monday night against the lowly Washington Wizards. Playing without a handful of rotation players, the Pistons were down double digits with 5 minutes remaining. Little-used Dennis Jenkins drained a last-second corner 3 to send the game into overtime before the Pistons pulled out a 135-137 win. Jenkins, who is on a 2-way contract, played 34 minutes and wound up with a career-high 24 points, along with 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and 3 assists. Javonte Green played a season-high 38 minutes and contributed 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. Detroit forward Osar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Isaiah Stewart sat out due to ankle injuries. Karis LeVert was rested in the second game of a back-to-back, and Jaden Ivey is on the mend from knee surgery. Star guard Cade Cunningham, who was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, landed hard on his tailbone while getting fouled in the 4th quarter, but remained in the game. He finished with a career-high 46 points, though he took a whopping 45 field goal attempts. He made 14. The Bulls carry a 3-game losing streak into Detroit. They lost to San Antonio 121-117 on Monday. Chicago played without starting guard Josh Giddey, who was nursing an ankle injury. Kevin Huter scored 23 points, and fellow guards Trey Jones and Ayo Dosunmu each scored 20 points against the Spurs while dishing out a combined 17 assists. It wasn't enough as San Antonio shot 51.2% from the field. The Bulls are hopeful that Giddey can return against the division opponent. He's averaging 21.4 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 9.3 assists per game. The Bulls recorded a 115-111 season opening victory over the Pistons. Vucevic led the way with 28 points and 14 rebounds, while 5 other Chicago players scored at least 12 points in that game. Bradley plays UT Martin after Jaquan Johnson scored 33 points in Bradley's 85-54 victory against the Central Michigan Chippewas. Bradley went 14-4 at home last season while going 28-9 overall. The Braves averaged 76.3 points per game while shooting 48.3% from the field and 39.8% from deep last season. UT Martin went 14-19 overall a season ago while going 5-12 on the road. The Skyhawks averaged 13.5 assists per game on 25.3 made field goals last season. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with you.